Hi YouTube, excuse the jiggling if I move it will jiggle but the camera, but I'll try and hold as still as I possibly can. Um I haven't been feeling good. This wet weather has got my leg just hurting bad. I had a horse riding accident and smashed some of my muscles, so when my bones hurt, I have nerve ending damage in it and it's hard to walk. So this morning I bake when I don't feel good. Well, I didn't bake. I decided to make sour cream donuts. Well, I haven't had any yet and I put them in the refrigerator, but Doug tried them and he says they're awesome. So, um yeah. So that's what I did this morning. I was going to make ginger snaps and I'm thinking about um, Danish or Dutch shortbread butter cookies, something like that too, coming up in the near future here, or whatever, I guess, on that day, I'll know. But anyway, I've sure been given an awful lot of thought about the word being raised when we're raised by our parents. Were we really raised or were we conditioned to fail? Um, if you think about the downfalls of your parents and how they caved into Satan, because almost everybody did, we know that. Were we actually raised? Or did it just appear to be that way? I mean, sure, they fed us, or if they fed us properly, and put clothes on our back if they did, and things like that that are normal and typical. But I don't know. I just had a lot of thought put into that because, well, I'll just tell it like it is, like I usually do on Facebook. I see where people are self proclaiming Christians. Now, I'm hoping to teach and reach here, but if it doesn't do any good, I guess I'm wasting my time, but perhaps it will touch somebody's heart and you can relate. But there's a sort of a tinge of a filthy feeling that you get with certain posts when you do have like a mindful heart for other people. So there's a post or a meme that will be distasteful, or it gives you that tinge of you can't pass it on because you know that it's not um, what you would want to teach somebody else. If you're leading somebody else into something that is lower than what God expects of us, then you're the Jezebel spirit and you're literally working for Satan, whether you know that or not. So, and I believe that the people that I'm talking about are fully aware of that. It's just that I thought I'd take a little time and try and reach that situation, if at all possible, because there's nothing you can gain out of it besides your own shame and sorrow. Seriously, so. Are women so, like, your composure? What are you comprised of? Um, do you, is your beauty as a human being, is that your number one focus? Is that um what you want other people to think of you for what you look like, or how you act and how you are from the inside out? Might want to think about that because beauty does fade. We all get older, and then what are you left with? If you are ugly on the inside, that's going to start reflecting on the outside in a big way. And it does, no matter what your genes are or what you look like now. You'll become an old hag. and a filthy minded old hag at that. Is that really what you want to portray to the rest of the world? Whether you're a man or a woman, if your looks are everything to you, or so much that you would pass a post around about how sexy you are, who gives a shit? Anybody can spread their legs, and everybody does or has. But what are you on the inside? Who are you? You know, that's really important thing. We're immortal. Our spirits are forever. Do you want to live in shame forever from how stupid you portrayed yourself here in your learning experience? When you had the opportunity to teach other people, what did you teach them? When you talk about raising children, what did you raise? Or did you set them up for the fall? Because if you're still acting like you're fallen, you obviously spread that fallen nature onto children. That's a fact. So, I had to say something about it because that's what I do and who I am. Sure, I have kids. I had people say, well, your own kid don't talk to you and whatever. Yeah, only because I told you that's what the situation is. When my child is doing wrong, I say something. He might not like it, but you know what? He knows where to come back to when he needs somebody that's faithful and true and righteous of spirit. So I'm always standing strong for God, for my children, and that's raising a child. If I pass around a dirty post, it might have seemed funny to me like when I was about 12 years old. If I passed around something like that now, my kids would think lower of me even if they laughed and passed it around also. But what am I doing? Ask yourself with every single post you post, if this was the last meme that I spread around, is this how I want the world to remember me? And is this what I want to tell God that I'm telling the whole world, all of his children? You have to ask yourself that. Well, you don't have to, but I would suggest it. You know, what's the last words that come out of your mouth that you would want your children to hear? That you're standing strong against Satan and the Jezebel spirit? Or you're just worried about what you look like? I mean, it's okay. You got a pretty smile, cool smile. That's beautiful. But I want to know what's behind that smile and why. If your parents raised you to overlook filthy things and you don't get that little tinge of guilt or the filth indicator, something's wrong with you because you're passing it on to other people. So it's a fact. Don't like the truth? I don't care. They say the truth hurts. Well, why should it? It's not hurting me, but I'm not going to join along and pretend that everything's okay when it's not. Even stepchildren, well, I didn't raise. My stepdaughter has a mother. That's one thing too, see. Um, when that child doesn't come out of your body and it doesn't have that soul connection, Sure, you can feed that child, you can clothe that child, but the connection that the mother and the child has is still a stronger bond, even if that mother is sick and can't take care of her children. There's still a stronger bond between that mother and child. My stepdaughter's mom knows more about her than I could ever dream because that's her baby. That child came out of her body. She carried that baby with her strength. And maybe for some people, that strength they give to their children, they may not have been strong enough to help that child. So when I see lack of consideration for the birth mother, it irks me because we don't raise our stepchildren. We help them. We may help raise them, but we don't raise them. The bond between the mother and the child is there, words unspoken. That's who raises that child. That's a fact. Even when my kids were living with their dad and their stepmom, they knew who mom was and they knew who was raising them. They knew right and wrong and they knew where it came from. Even if a mother can't talk to her children, that is still there. So, and I'm sure there are a lot of stepmoms and birth mothers that will thoroughly agree with what I'm talking about. There'll be some that disagree also, but you know, I don't know. I really take care with what I pass around. I mean, there's days that I think people really aren't all they're chalked up to be. And it's really hard to find true people with righteous hearts that won't settle for less. It is. So, what if you were me, assuming that you could understand that no filth is tolerated? What would you do? Would you keep silent? If you knew that there was other people involved that would see those posts because every time you pass a post around, if it's unsavory, that's what it is. Well, the Jezebel spirit's going to laugh at that and find the humor in their satanic ways. Whereas a God loving person is going to say, wow, I can't pass this around. What if somebody sees this and gets the wrong idea and ends up acting like that? And I just led them wrong. Did you know? And you better know this. There's a special hell inside your mind, a special hell you will go through for leading children wrong. There's a special hell for parents that take God away from a child. And when you are influencing people in a wrong way, that's just what you're doing. We're all His children. So if your intention is to not even care, that's just as bad as the intent of doing something intentionally. So either way, you're not off the hook. You see? And you can say that, oh, God take care of me and Jesus this and God that and whatever till you turn purple, and isn't going to take away from the fact that the things that you're doing that are wrong and unjust is going to be let go, because it won't be. Nothing, no infraction of the Word of God within your heart is going to be let go. Not one little bit. Do you have to be perfect? Well, as close to it as you can possibly be. When you hear a dirty thought that Satan's saying, yeah, go ahead, post that. Your God inside yourself, Christ inside you, has to be strong enough to say, no, this is improper. I'm not going to post this. Or even if it's talking about you, I had one, it said something like 7 words that describe me, and it was like sensual and blah blah, this, that, and the next thing, and blah blah. And I'm like, nope, not posting it. Um, if it's funny up to a point, but when it crosses the line, it crosses the line. You know, wouldn't you actually rather be known for your heart, your true compassion, enough to say, I'm not going to spread this around because it could hurt somebody, than the way Satan wants you to act? You know? Am I vain? Not too much. See my ratty wet hair? You know? Um, am I worried about what I look like? Well, I like to look nice, but I'm not worried about putting any makeup on or enticing anybody. I've never been like that. I just can't. I used to wear black around my eyes, so when I was looking at you, you'd be able to see really deep in there, and you wouldn't be able to take your eyes away from the fact that I was telling you the truth, you know? And I've always been like that. So, um, I stopped trying to worry about my looks when I became a mother. It's not that like I say, I like to look nice and presentable. If I go out, I dress up, whatever. Once in a while, I'll put a pretty shirt on to do a video or something out of respect for everybody else. But, just to say, hey, I put a pretty shirt on for y'all today. But trying to be sexy isn't in my vocabulary. In fact, if a man ever were to come on to me like that, and I've lost subs because of that, um, I feel like punishing people. You don't mess with me like that. It's like I raised my sons too. And whether or not they gathered this is totally their problem or not. But I taught them, you don't, your eyes aren't free. It's not look but don't touch. It isn't like that. No matter what society has taught you, you don't look for free. You will pay for that with a chunk of your soul. You don't go looking at a girl thinking lustfully because they hear your thoughts. You can't do that for free and think that there's nothing wrong with it. Well, on the other hand, a woman can't dress enticing and think that God isn't going to take a chunk of her for doing that, because you just can't do that kind of crap for free. It just doesn't work like that. And Mother and Jezebel do not fit in the same sentence or in the same soul house, you know? So, um, pretty much that's what's on my mind. I mean, that's on my mind a lot, and I've gone through this a lot online, but, and it does get sickening, but, it's just that people want it, to me, especially when you're like a half a century old, that should just scream you should know better. And if you don't and you were taught wrong, not straightening up, that isn't going to help the person, even if they're still alive, your mom or dad, sisters, brothers, cousins, whoever. If they act like that too, you aren't going to help them by keeping that same filth within your family line. You will not be helping anybody, not even yourself. So, what are you going to do? You have decisions to make. You say you love God, prove it. Keep the filthy stuff out of your life, keep it away from everybody else. You know, God brings people into our lives so we can help each other. Maybe this will help somebody because if you feel the pressures from other people in the world that are acting like that, because it is a really loose world, it's putrid. It really is gross. There's nothing innocent or sacred or um, pleasing. You know, it's really hard to find a movie to watch that isn't nasty. Um, then people laugh it off, and I don't, I don't, and I can't. So, well, that's probably about it for now. I've got another little video about some bugs that I'm going to tell people how to get rid of. I think I might do that too. I'll have to see here, but I love you all. Thank you for joining me. I hope it helped somebody. Must have been meant, well, it was meant specifically for a couple of somebodies, but whether or not you take credence in my words or value what I'm telling you out of love, and believe me, it makes me angry enough to want to go Satanistic on your ass, but I'm not. And I won't. I'll just slowly fade away from you. So um, that's the way I do things. So, well, peace and love from Pine City, Minnesota, USA.